Welcome to History Session by M. Shantaveni. Topic: Ancient Historical Sources of India. This is a very important topic for examination point of view as well as for competitive success, for writing the competitive exams. Many questions are expected. Listen properly. You may feel little bit bored, but it is very important. Whatever the points I am telling, you have to note down. Listen properly and note down. This is a topic for BA first year students of first sem. The expected question for external exams essay type question is: explain in brief the sources of ancient Indian history and how they are useful for reconstructing the history of ancient India. Expected short notes are Kautilya, Kalhana, Megasthenes, inscriptions, numismatics, monuments. Okay. Now we will start with meaning of sources. Historical sources are those which provide information about history of the past. Unless and until you have past knowledge, you cannot proceed to the future. So if you want to do some work, so if you want to know about particular person, or else if you want to know about administration of ancient period, you must have some authentic source which gives you information, so that based on that source you will still better run the administration, or whatever you want to implement, you will implement in a proper way. In this way, sources play a very important role. Okay, now you have understood about meaning of sources. Sources are just like pillars. Okay, foundation of pillars. So sources are divided into two categories: literary sources and archaeological sources. Literary sources are those which can be written in nature. Literature means what? Writing. So literary sources are those which can be written in nature. Now we are discussing about ancient Indian history. Here we have to take into account only ancient historical writings. All the ancient historical writings are known as historical literature. Archaeological sources are those which cannot be written in nature but only can be seen with our eyes, like buildings, coins, inscriptions, pillars, paintings, architecture, art, all those things. Okay. So now we will discuss first about literary sources. Literary sources are again divided into two: Indian literature and foreign literature. So Indian literature, it is again divided into two: religious texts and secular texts. So first we will discuss about religious texts. It is divided into three. Then after that we will discuss about secular text. It is also divided into three. By that we will finish about Indian literature. So religious texts are indigenous literatures. They describe about religion, religious biography. Okay, so in religious text, we have, it is divided into 3 categories. Religious text is again divided into 3 categories. Hindu's literature or Brahmanical literature is first one. Second one is Buddhist literature. Third one is Jain literature. So now first we will discuss about Brahmanical literature or Hindu literature. During the ancient period, Brahmins played a predominant role. Whatever they say, everyone has to obey that. So under Brahmanical literature, we have Vedas, Upanishads, Ramayana, Mahabharata, Aryankas, Puranas, Smrutis. Okay. So we have 4 Vedas: Rig Veda, Yajurveda, Samaveda and Atharvana Veda. So Rig Veda is the oldest of all the Vedas. Rig Veda is the oldest of all the Vedas. Rig Veda, the period of Rig Veda was from 1500 BC to 1000 BC. So by studying about Rig Veda, we will come to know about early history of the Aryans. Early history of the Aryans. So Yajurveda, Samaveda and Atharvana Veda from 11th century BC to 6th century BC. Yajurveda is the study of medicine. Samaveda is the collection of melody, that is music and dance. Okay. Next we have Upanishads. So first, what is meant by Veda? Veda means to acquire knowledge. Veda means knowledge. So now Upanishads, there are 206 Upanishads. Upanishads from 1000 BC to 500 BC. So persons sitting near the Guru for acquiring knowledge is known as Upanishads. Only selected members sit besides the Guru for acquiring of knowledge. That is known as Upanishads. Then we have Smruti. Smruti means what? To hear. So we have to hear properly to acquire knowledge. We have Ramayana and Mahabharata. They are the texts of Hindus literature. They provide knowledge about ancient Indian history. Then we have Puranas. There are 18 Puranas. Matsya Purana was the oldest of all the Puranas. Puranas came into existence during Gupta's period. Now we have Buddhist literature. Buddhist literature, it is written in Pali language. It describes about life history of Gautama Buddha. Buddhist literature was known as Tripitakas. They are Vinaya Pitakam, Sutta Pitakam and Abhidham. Vinaya Pitaka describes about code of conduct. Sutta Pitaka describes about philosophical ideology of Buddha. Abhidham describes about religious ideology of Buddha. So this Buddhist literature also prevailed during 6th century BC. Then we have Jain literature. Jain literature describes about life history of Vartamana Mahavira, who was the founder of Jainism. It also prevailed during 6th century BC. There are 24 Tirthankas in Jain literature. Tirthankas means finding the path. The Tirthankas are, there are 24 Tirthankas. Okay. The first Tirthanka was Rishabhadeva. The first Tirthanka was Rishabhadeva. And 23rd Tirthanka was Parshanatha. 24th Tirthanka was Vartamana Mahavira. In Jainism we have 12 Angas and 2 Upa Angas. Okay. In Jain literature we have 12 Angas and 2 Upa Angas. So up to this extent you have understood now? You have any doubt? The second Jain Mahasabha was held at Vallabhi in Gujarat. This is very, very important for competitive point of view. Now we have secular test. Now we have finished Indian literature. We have to go to secular test. Secular means tests which describe about political and social aspects rather than the religious aspects. So in secular test we have historical literature, semi-historical literature and historical literature, semi-historical literature and biography. Okay. So now first we will discuss about historical literature. Kautilya has written Ardhashastra. So Kautilya's Ardhashastra describes about history of Mauryas. Kautilya's Ardhashastra describes about Kautilya's Ardhashastra describes about history of Mauryas and their administration. Rajatarangini written by Kalahana. It describes about history of Kashmir. He wrote that book around 12th century BC. Now semi-historical tests. In semi-historical tests we have Panini, Ashtadhya, Patanjali, Mahabhashyam. Vishakadatta, Mudra Rakshasam. These three books are very important in semi-historical test and they provide knowledge about ancient history of India. So next we have biographical test. Banabhatta wrote Harsha Charitra. It explains about the rule of Pushyabhuti. Bilhana wrote Vikramarka Charitra. Bilhana has written Vikramarka Charitra. It also explains about ancient history of India. So now here we have finished about Indian literature. Now we have to go to foreign literature. What is meant by foreign literature? All the foreigners from different countries came to India and they have witnessed the administration of Indians and they have expressed their views in different books. That is known as foreign literature. In foreign literature we have Greek, Chinese and Arabs. In Greek we have Alexander, Herodotus, Ptolemy and Megasthenes. So Herodotus was the father of history. He wrote about history of India. Ptolemy wrote about geography of India. Megasthenes has written Indica. It describes about history of Mauryas. Megasthenes came to India during the dynasty of Mauryas. At that time Chandragupta Maurya was ruling the country. It describes about social, economic, political conditions of India. So Indica is expected for short notes. The book written by Megasthenes was Indica. So next we have Chinese travelers. In Chinese travelers we have Fahian and Huansang. So Fahian was also known as Prince of Pilgrim. His writings describe about life history of Gautama Buddha. Huansang, the writings of Huansang describe about Harshavardhana of Pushyabhuti dynasty. Then we have Arab travelers. From among Arab writers we have Al-Biruni. He came to India around 1090 AD. He said that Indians had more knowledge but they are very arrogant in expressing their views. The sources written by Indians are not chronological order. So this you have to remember. This was the quotation said by Al-Biruni. Ibn Battuta. Ibn Battuta came during the reign of Muhammad Ghazni. Ibn Battuta was a great philosopher, mathematician, scientist. He describes about history of Muhammad Ghazni who has invaded India for 17 times. Abdul Razak. Abdul Razak also describes about history of Muhammad Gori. Okay. Now we have finished about literary sources. Literary sources means you have to write about this much. Indian literature you have to write and foreign literature you have to write. All these things come under literary source only. So many things you have to remember. You follow some other biography also. Some other bibliography also, sorry. So that you will get more points. you read some other books. Follow some bibliography of ancient books. Now, archaeological sources. Archaeological sources are those which cannot be written in nature but can only be seen. Like epigraphy, they are divided into three: epigraphy, numismatics, and monuments. Epigraphy means study of inscriptions. Hathigumpa, ancient inscriptions. Hathigumpa inscription, inscriptions of Ashoka, inscriptions of Shatavahanas, Gunadgana inscription. All these inscriptions play a very, very important role. These inscriptions explain about administration of ancient rulers, the policies adopted by them. The 14 inscriptions of Ashoka. Each inscription explains about Dharma of Ashoka, the rules and regulations, the policies followed by him in his administration. Then we have numismatics. Numismatics means the study of coins. We have different types of coins like Nishka, Pana. So this Nishka was a coin which was made of gold. So after that, during the period of Sher Shah in 1540, rupee came into existence. Okay, rupee came into existence. Then after that, we have monuments. Monuments are very, very important. Monuments means the study of buildings. All the ancient historical buildings, starting from Harappan civilization to Gupta's period. Okay. Mohenjo-daro, the Great Bath, the temples like Kailasanatha temple, Brihadishwara temple during the Cholas period. All these things come under monuments. Okay. Ajanta, Ellora caves. Okay. So now we will conclude by way of conclusion. Like now, to conclude, we have to say that historical sources are very, very important. They play a vital role to understand the history of any country or to rewrite the history of any nation. Sources play a important role. They are just like pillars. So everyone has to understand the source, then only they can proceed in their future. Okay ma? Thank you girls.